I'm going to cry. But first, I have to stand up. Hi. My name's Jen Lyons, and I'm a member of CSL. And the theme for 2025 is Rising Higher, Growing Deeper. The theme for March is the flow of coming and going. Our topic for today is navigating the tides of life. Psalm 46, verses 1 to 3, offer this message using water imagery. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in times of change and trouble. Therefore, we will not fear. When the waters rise and are troubled, and when the mountains are shaken into the heart of the sea. And from Ernest Holmes, the fruits of centering and remaining in silence are evident. Suddenly, you become aware of God's presence and a greater dimension of yourself and your surroundings become evident. Let us affirm together, my mind is quiet, calm, and deeply still. My body rests in the still silence of the Spirit. And now I'd like to welcome Reverend Dr. Kathleen Johnson.
Thank you, Jen. Yeah, let's give credit to that second quote. That's Borisenko. That was not Ernest Holmes. Yeah, it's not your fault.
Okay.
So there was a priest, a doctor, and an engineer who were waiting and waiting and waiting for the golfers in front of them to move out of the way so that they could get onto the green and golf. And so the engineer had it, and he said, what on earth is going on here? This is like 25 minutes. And the doctor said, yeah, what's the story? And the priest saw a greenskeeper and went over to the greenskeeper and said, excuse me, do you know what's going on with the two guys that are in front of us? And the greenskeeper said, oh, yes, those are blind firefighters, and they lost their sight when we had a fire in the clubhouse, and they saved the clubhouse, so we let them golf for free. So there was a long pause as everybody began to think. The priest said, I know what I'll do. I will pray. I'll pray for them. And the doctor said, oh, you know what? I have a friend who's an ophthalmologist. Maybe she can help. And then the engineer, they actually turned to the engineer waiting for him to answer. And he said, my solution? Let them play at night. Yeah, you know, we humans often have a lot of difficulty with any type of a change. And in this case, of course, with the golfers, it was a change in the waiting time. So there was a lot of complaining and grousing and so on. Albert Einstein said, he addressed the situation by saying, you know, many women marry men hoping that they will change. And many men marry women hoping they won't change. But it's inevitable that change will happen. So this month, the focus is on exploring how that we can navigate the comings and goings of constant change. And we know we're surrounded by it. Change is always happening. And so we can navigate it by cultivating the silence. That's going to be the focus. So cultivating the silence through mindfulness, through silent meditation. And we'll be looking at ways that we can do that, not only with that spiritual practice, but throughout our lives. How we can move through life and navigate it by cultivating this spaciousness. And whoops. Okay. That came to me is today when we were all saying what we're here for, I got spaciousness. So cultivating that sense of
You lost your battery. Rather than change it, just go grab the
okay.
handheld.
Change. So just dealing with change. It's no big deal. There's a solution. So we can cultivate that silence, that spaciousness, with 3 very quick steps as we move throughout our life, as we go through our daily activities. And that is pause, breathe, and observe. Pause, breathe, and observe. So most people, of course, sail blindly through life. We called it last week living on automatic pilot, or another way of thinking of it is sleepwalking through life, allowing our normal habit patterns of thought direct us. But there's another choice. Thank heavens there's another choice. And that choice is to sail through life more consciously. And we can do that by using pause, breathe, and observe. It's 3 very simple words that make a huge difference. So let's use an example. Let's say we see something on TV that we find very disturbing. Yeah. And so the thought that might arise is, this is horrible. How are we all going to survive this? And that's a great opportunity to stop, because there's a lot of stress that comes with that, to stop, or to pause, breathe, and observe. Observe the impact of that thought on the body, the stress it's created. And just saying, maybe there's another perspective. There's a new way of looking at this. There's another better feeling thought that I can choose about all of this. So it might be something like, I like the idea that I'm creating my experience. I like the idea that I can be inspired by a universal intelligence that flows through me, and think of a thought that makes me feel better, and that maybe will activate me to do what's mine to do. So the thing that's nice about I like the idea, I got that from Abraham Hicks, by the way. Michelle and I have been listening to some of their things. Because can you feel how light that is? It's not heavy. It's something that's doable. I like the idea. I like the idea that I'm a creator of my life. I like the idea that I can raise my vibration by changing my thinking. And so we walk ourselves very gently into a higher frequency, and turn off the stress response and turn on the relaxation response, which opens us to the flow of divine wisdom. So being guided by that what we call it, the wise counselor within, being guided by the wise counselor within is something that's a necessity, not a luxury, if we are to navigate life constructively. Everybody get that? It's a necessity. It's not a luxury. It's something that is going to make a difference in how we feel, how we care for our body temples, because being in stress is not healthy for us, and will also help us access higher wisdom so that we can know what to do. So that's pause, breathe, and observe. That's the first one. Second one, listen in silence. And again, another opportunity to look at this through the eyes of others. A Native American woman who was deeply in touch with nature was visiting her urban dwelling friend, let's put it that way, and they were walking down the city streets, and suddenly the Native American woman said, "Do you hear that? Listen, listen, listen. Do you hear that?" And the urban dwelling woman said, "You know what? I hear the hustle and bustle of people going past us. I hear their conversations. I hear the traffic, the honking, the sirens, the zooming of the cars going by, the motors." And she said, no, listen, listen. She said, "Oh, wait a second. Let me show you something." So she took a coin out of her pocket and said, "Just watch, watch." Dropped it on the ground, clink. And what happened? All the people that were in the general area turned around to see what it was. So it caught their attention, something out of the ordinary. And then the Native American woman stooped down and picked up a rock. And under the rock was a cricket making a lot of noise. And suddenly, she was able to hear it, but the urban woman couldn't attune to it because she was attuned to other noises. That was not something she was attuned to. The Native American woman was attuned to that. And so she could hear the sound because that's what she had practiced, what she was used to listening to. And it's so true about cultivating this state of silence and listening to the wise counselor within. It's something that we cultivate. It's something we attune to so that as we move through life, we're able to hear. We're able to hear the still small voice within. We're able to hear and feel and sense that guidance of what it is that we are to do next, and therefore move through life more smoothly, easily, effortlessly, and wisely. So that's listen deeply. We know that silent meditation practice and mindfulness as we move throughout our day attune us to something that is beyond the five senses. And that's what this is. This is learning to tune to something, to that inner silence, that spaciousness that is behind and maybe we say between all the sounds, that is behind what's coming in through the five senses. So as we learn to observe those thoughts that invade our minds, how do you like that idea of invading our minds? That prevent us from seeing who we are in truth as we observe, in other words, the thinker, and realize we are not the thinker. We are that presence. We are that silence. We are that observer that's beyond all of that. That's a beautiful sense of spaciousness. We become the context instead of the content. Right? We are that context, and therefore unified as the one. Number 3, flow. When we pause, breathe, and observe our thoughts and realize that we are not our thoughts, a shift happens. That's the key. Our energy empties out of all of those thought patterns and emotions. And I was thinking about the busting loose process as I was putting this together, where you can unplug or watch the eggshells of belief shatter and all the energy comes back into the body temple. So using some visualization for that. There's an activation that takes place, that activating a higher level of consciousness, that activating of that higher perspective. And then this thing that we call flow takes place, that flow of inner wisdom. That flow of the divine itself, which is our true nature. And so we're able to, therefore, function from a place beyond our conditioning, our conditioned responses. And even if we do have a reaction or something, if we've cultivated this type of awareness, then we can notice, oh my gosh, I'm reacting. This is a great opportunity. This is a great opportunity for me to breathe, pause, breathe, observe, remember who I am, notice the thought, and we have a chance to choose a higher thought. I mean, it's so beautiful. All of these fit together so well, this whole process of getting back into the flow of our divine selves. So let's practice. Close your eyes if you would like, or just turn your gaze down if you don't like closing your eyes. And then I'm going to invite you to, so we're pausing now, and now we're going to breathe. So breathe into the count of 5 through your heart, and breathe out to the count of 5 through your heart. Breathe in through your heart, and out through your heart. Being the silent observer and watching the thinker, letting the thoughts flow by. Even letting the sensations flow by. And dropping into the spaciousness of the one that witnesses, the one that watches, the one that observes. Continuing to breathe. Acknowledging I am not those thoughts. I'm not even those sensations. I am pure spirit, the one that is observing. The one that has the power to choose a higher thought. And therefore, no matter the circumstance, I can choose my experience. I can create my experience of reality. I can be a contributor to creation through higher level thinking. So enjoying the silence just for a moment. And when you're ready to return, you can wiggle your fingers, your toes, feel the comfort of your chair, your feet on the ground, and just open your eyes gently when you're ready. And so we live in this state of eternal flow. So let's navigate the comings and the goings with this incredible level of mindfulness and awareness, this higher level of consciousness, as we pause, as we breathe, as we observe. Amazing things begin to happen. Not only do we feel differently, we observe life from a whole new perspective. We are the universal humans that have been called forth